Disney. We all know of them. They're one of the most profitable entertainment companies of all time. They typically bring in about $55 billion in revenue and make about $9 billion in income. So if Disney brings in all this money, why do they have tens of billions of dollars in debt? And should we be concerned? Well, let's talk about it. See, ever since Bob Iger took the head of Disney in 2005, Disney has given tens of billions of dollars to shareholders through share buybacks and dividends. Plus, Disney's been expanding its parks and acquiring more companies. Think Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Maker Studio, etc. Now, all of those transactions cost money, but those were relatively small transactions for a $200 billion company. Disney could easily take out a little debt to pay these transactions off. But recently, things have changed. See, recently things got rough when Disney acquired Fox for $71 billion. One of the main motivators of this deal was to create a streaming service that could rival Netflix. And although the profit potential is huge, after the merger, Disney's debt almost tripled, going from $20 billion to more than $57 billion, making their annual interest expense around $1.5 billion. Now, if we compare their debt load to their cash and short-term investments of about $10 billion, we begin to see that Disney is in the negative by $47 billion. But things don't stop there. The company also pays $2.5 billion in annual dividends to shareholders. Now, Disney has stopped the share buybacks for now, as they've come to realize that it's simply too expensive. Nonetheless, their $2.5 billion in dividends is still almost 28% of their profits. So as it stands, Disney doesn't have the cash to pay off their debt in the near future. Their debt load is simply too large, and a huge amount of their profits are leaving the company annually. But should we be worried about this? Well, yes and no. See, Disney tends to make mergers and acquisitions work out. It's something that they do very well in comparison to other companies. So, if they can pull this off, Disney has said that the Fox acquisition will boost their bottom line in about 2 years. It's expected that the companies will save at least $2 billion in cost synergies. As a result, the combined profits and savings from the Fox merger could help them pay off their debt. But that's a big if. Let's look a little deeper. Just as the Fox deal could increase their bottom line in 2 years, Disney also brought out that its streaming service is expected to lose dollars annually until 2024. In addition, it's known that we're in the 10th year of an economic expansion. We just had an inverted yield curve. The trade war is still going on. The US and Iran continue to escalate. The global economy is slowing down. The Fed is going back and forth, and the list goes on. Now, I'm not one of those doom and gloom guys, but in the next few years, anything could happen. It's likely going to be a rocky road. If we were to go into a recession, Disney would be severely hurt, as 34% of their revenue comes from parks. And it's known that consumers are less likely to spend hundreds of dollars at Disneyland when they have to pay their bills and living expenses. Depending on the scale of a recession, it could crush Disney's earnings and make it very difficult for them to service their debt, thus forcing them to cut their dividend. So although I'm hopeful, and I think the economy will not completely fall apart, I see the economic challenges ahead. Disney's debt and move into streaming could be a huge problem if the economy pulls back. And if we did have an economic pullback, I would expect Disney to cut their dividend, which would likely cause their share price to slide. Disney's extremely dependent on the stability of the US economy, and this stock doesn't have much cushion room. But if everything remains relatively stable, it's likely that Disney will pay off its debt, and the upside could be huge. So, in conclusion, I'm personally quite confident that Disney will be able to survive whatever comes their way, but I also think it's going to be a really rocky road. We'll have to just wait and see. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on Disney in the comment section below, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.